My name's Tim Rogers. I'm from TMR Customs.
And I'm Mike Rogers from TMR Customs. We're coming from just north of Toronto, Ontario, Canada to race here in California.
We're down here in Johnson Valley, California for the 2025 King of the Hammers. We compete in the 4400 class, also known as the Race of Kings. For those of you who don't know what King of the Hammers is, it's a mix of desert racing and rock racing in Johnson Valley, California. They say that there's over 80,000 people out here. That includes racers and spectators. And it's essentially a 2-week-long off-road festival. There's everything from straight up desert racing to rock crawling competitions to the rock race that we do. And it started with a pack of small guys, and it's grown in this massive thing. It's the Super Bowl of our sport. It's competing at the absolute highest level, and it's driven a ton of innovation. Like a company like ours, when we're designing new suspension parts, chassis parts, it's with King of the Hammers in mind. This is definitely the pinnacle of the sport. There's a whole town born out of the desert, a full town with power, internet, running water, like every service. It's absolutely insane what gets constructed out here. And unless you come, it's kind of mind-blowing. You kind of got to come here to really experience it. Obviously, you can see it online. We can tell you about it. All the racers, fans can tell you about it. But if you can touch feet in this desert during race week, it's insane. It'll blow your mind. It's another level. Being that we're not local, being we're from Toronto, it's a 45-hour haul basically on the road to get down here to Johnson Valley from home. So the way we slice it is basically 3 15-hour days of driving lands us here. So first day, we leave home, we get to Missouri, stay there for a night. Second night, we get to New Mexico, stay there for a night. Third night, we get down to JV.
Last year, we left the desert with a broken car. We had a broken transmission and broken front drive shaft. So we left and just pretty much started preparing and getting a game plan for how we were going to do better this year in 2025. So some of the preparation we did on the race car was we changed out our front bypass shocks. That was to get a little bit more speed in the desert. We changed our transfer case gearing, which was a bit of a problem last year, and we added a reduction box in front of that so we could get a high and a low, whereas last year we just had one gear, you were stuck in it. This year we had a high-low so we could get more speed in the desert and then be slower in the rocks to be more controlled there. We mounted the jack better this year, and we improved our rear tire mount so that it would come on and off the car easier should we need it. This year we decided to add some Baja Designs lights to the car. So we had a 20-inch bar on the bumper that was an amber that we run most of the time, and then if you're going to be going real fast, you're going to run the 40-inch bar we added to the roof. Another change was the steering pump. We made a big upgrade on that. We went to the new RDT pump from Radial Dynamics and loved that. It worked awesome.
So in terms of our race car that we compete in down here, it's a TMR Customs tube chassis. It's a product that we sell. It's essentially a kit car. We ship you all those tubes, flat packed, you weld it together, and we guide you through that process. So that's the chassis itself. We run Spider Trax axles, Radflow shocks, we run a 40-inch tire on bead locks, lighting from Baja Designs like we mentioned. Powertrain-wise, it's a GM LS3 525, a Turbo 400 transmission, a Magnum box, and an SCS transfer case. And that's putting the power through JE Reel drive shafts down to the Spider Trax axles. Sparco seats, got like fresh air pumpers. We've got radio communications between ourselves and the car. So obviously I'm kind of calling out turns to Mike as he's driving, calling out those notes to check up. And we've also got outside radio so we can call our crew. So this year we had a lot of returnees on our team. Obviously the two of us cannot do all the heavy lifting alone. Two guys could not make a race team, that's for sure. So we had an awesome group of returnees as well as some new additions. So returning was Adrian, and Adrian handles all our bookings and logistics. A lot of that's done at home before we even get here, and doing that in advance makes things go smooth here on the lake bed. Eugene returned as our camp chef. Eugene does a lot of our media and graphics at home with EH Media. And down here, the guy can cook, man, so he keeps the crew fed and everybody stoked. Steven also returned. He's called him our head mechanic and prep guy. He helps us prep the car at home, and without him, we would never make it to the race, and he oversees all the prep when we're down here. Dustin also returned. Dustin is actually the builder of our pre-runner and crawler, so we knew it would be in tip-top shape. Dustin got his hands on it, and he works with Steven as well to prep the race car and make sure everything's rocking.
For new guys, we had Tim Jansen. Last year he came down and helped some other friends from Canada race. And we saw how much he could throw down and help those guys. So when they weren't coming back, we asked if he'd want to join up with us and help us. And he's good at everything. He knows where he's going down here. We got Matt Ganter. He's a great mechanic. He came by the shop and helped us get ready for this race. One day before the race to help us get that new Magnum box put in it. So he's great to help and a good asset here in our pit. Corey's a returning member. He came down last year and returned this year. He's awesome. He's willing to do anything and everything needed at any given time. Always willing to pitch in and ask what's needed.
One of the best things that happened to us last year in the King of the Hammers rookie program was all the awesome people we met. So we met Nacho and his family, and they offered us some storage at their warehouse down here. So dating back to September, we hauled down our pre-runner truck. We picked up a second TMR chassis and we brought it down here, and those guys kind of led us through all the trails, taught us how to wheel this terrain. It's far different from home. We got nothing at home that replicates either open desert or rocks like these that offer kind of the traction that these do, as well as obviously sand. So we came down in September. That was our first 45-hour haul. We went on another pre-running trip with them in November, really just trying to improve our driving skills, improve our confidence, improve our navigation, and the people you meet along these trips are truly amazing. One of the advantages to having a second buggy, pre-runner, crawler, whatever you want to call it down here is our ability to get out on the trails and not put miles on the race truck. So one of our goals was to go practice lots of the rock trails that were going to be on course. So we went out every day we were free with Dacho and his crew and just go wheel those trails. We got out and got lots of practice. You want to see the trails live. Obviously they change come race day, it's totally different, but it's just a feeling for your proximity to other trails, how things flow between the trails. So yeah, we really took advantage of having that second car, second buggy down here and put in lots of miles, primarily on the rock trails, because we thought that was going to be the greatest challenge to us. This year we had to spin wrenches a lot less. So when you're not putting miles on the race car, trying to use it to pre-run, it's in better shape come race day. So we're putting those miles on the second buggy, which was a huge asset to us. Last year it was changing transmissions, changing the transfer case, gearing multiple times, power steering pumps, alternator, you name it. I feel if it was a mechanical thing, it came out of that car. Yeah, we turned a lot less wrenches, fixed a lot less problems. Yeah, we had some problems. That's always going to be the case racing in the desert and doing this sort of thing, but we had the right skilled staff on hand, I'd say, to help us fix those issues and overcome them, and it was a much more pleasant 2 weeks down here compared to last year. Last year was a lot of stress, mayhem. Obviously it's your first time racing, so everything's unknown, everything's new. This year I feel we came in a lot more confident and just better physically prepared. The car was better prepared. We were better mentally prepared with the experience we had, as well as the crew. They had all been down here and knew exactly what to expect. So yeah, this was a great year compared to the year prior in terms of the fun factor, which is really what it's all about.
So for shock tuning this year, we went with Wayne at Alltech again. So the crew, we all loaded up, drove out there, spent a morning there with Wayne. The biggest thing he did for us was he jumped in the car, came for a ride. He really felt the car, felt what it was doing. We came back, made some adjustments, went back for another ride, picked up a whole bunch of speed from just a few simple tweaks on the shocks. The biggest gains we make from there this year were all of his driving tips when we were driving. He just taught me lots of little nuggets to watch for and just little ways and tricks to get faster out there and be smoother and really save the car and keep us going through the desert. So that's as much of a help for us as the tune on the shocks was.
Another thing we want to make sure we got in was pre-running the desert course. We set out early in the week, so we couldn't do the course in the right direction. We had to run it backwards, and we wanted to do it in the actual race car just to kind of further shake it down, see if we could find any loose nuts, bolts, or other things that obviously need to be tweaked prior to race day. We took our time. We weren't running at race pace. I'd say about half speed, but allowed us to mark a lot of dangers and spots we thought could get us in trouble at speed on the race truck. As we got through that, we realized we should, obviously, we're new to this, so we learn as we go. We should be marking the spots where you can go fast just as frequently as we're marking the spots where you gotta slow down or check up. So we started making better course notes on where we could pick up speed in addition to those dangers. And that really paid off on race day. It was nice to know, okay, here's where you gotta check up, that's fine. But now we're in an open section where we can kind of let it hang out and pick up some pace. So that was definitely some knowledge we can apply in the future and get better. So I'm glad we got to pre-run that whole desert lap.
And our notes are a big deal, like the dangers that we had marked. Pretty much half the dangers we had marked on our pre-run come race day. You're coming up to the danger, and about 100 yards after the danger, there's a car pulled over. So obviously somebody that hadn't done pre-running or hadn't made the notes and went into it too fast, got a flat tire. Last year we saw guys rolled over, all sorts of stuff in some of those dangers. So you really got to be careful. You really got to pay attention to where you're going and what's going to happen on come race day.
This morning we stripped the car down to do a full nut bolt check, fluid, everything to prepare for qualifying tomorrow. So end of the day now, we've run through a 4-page list that had everything that we were supposed to check, and we're just putting the car back together and looking forward to it tomorrow.
We're sitting here lined up ready for qualifying. We take off in about an hour. We're looking to get in a clean lap here. Not looking to push the car, definitely not looking to hurt anything. Just getting a little bit of time in and getting our spot for the main event. So we were first up in the noon block for qualifying. So we were ready to go, got over there early, lined up. We knew exactly where we were going to go and what we were going to do. When they dropped that flag, we just sort of executed that plan. Our plan for that was just to get a run in. did not want to hurt the car. We were not looking to be fast. We were just looking to get a run in, really just be able to get it back to camp and give it another once over. We had a really clean run. Final qualifying position, we were 74th overall. Didn't hurt the car, didn't have any big bumps that we were worried about or smashed any rocks. It was everything we expected. So we were really happy to be done with that and just be beyond that and ready to just go through contingency and then go to the race.
So here we are fabricating a support for our rear tire. We learned while shock tuning that the strap set we had wasn't quite adequate. So we were lucky enough to get some tubing from Nacho. Steven cut with that with Mike, mitered it, and we're just in the process of welding it. So I'm gonna weld it up here on the bench first, get all these miters knocked out, kind of get that thing welded on there. It should look good when we're done, clean. It's just a little extra support bracing to the back of the tire. So it's not gonna be jet the race because it would be pretty, it's called depressing to have to pull over to change a flat tire and spare tire there for us to use. So we're stoked to get this fixed up, and just kind of another thing you learn down here on the go. We don't really have any terrain like this to simulate running high speed through some really rough stuff at all. So yeah, we're pretty proud of this fix is turning out. Looking forward to getting it wrapped up. So today we've been working on improving our spare drive shaft mount. So rear shaft was at the back of the car. Didn't realize it until we got down here at shock tuning, but it was moving around a little bit and caused weld to fatigue and fall off. So we realized we got to add some serious gusseting and bracing to that just to accommodate for that vibration. So we're back here kind of shaping that stuff into place, and then later we'll get it welded in, and we feel a lot better about that spare drive shaft mount and being able to stand up to what we're going to put it to in the race.
We got going on here, it's our rat flow hydro jack. So we're just building a mount for it to fabricate it on the back of the car. Gonna get jacked into this little mount we made last night late. And then we're gonna make a foot for this end that's gonna connect 2 bolts. The bolts have the same hex as our lug nuts. So we'll use one tool to undo this, remove the jack, and then change the wheel. Jack mount that we had put on the car, we had shock tuning, our jack mount left the chat, it fell off the car. So we were in our pit fabricating. We were able to fabricate that in our pit before the main race. Tech and contingency, it's the day before the big race. So we brought our race car as well as our pre-runner through that. So all our families came out, our crew comes out. It's kind of a time to go through the last final safety checks with everybody from Ultra4, and going through town's really cool with the 2 cars. The kids love riding along. We meet lots of our customers there. It is just packed with people. And then the kids all gave out koozies, stickers. We had a great time.
Race morning, super exciting. You get to see all the cars, you hear all the cars running. I mean, we're talking thousands upon thousands of horsepower. And the heavy hitters, the biggest and baddest people in the sport, and you get to line up on the grid with them and compete against them. So race morning is a pretty special time. And yeah, when you take that green flag, it's down to business. It's down to do what you came for, and essentially a year's worth of work leading up to race day. So they drop that green flag, and we're off to see how far we can get. First lap was all desert. It was 65 miles of desert. So we take off from Hammertown. We got ahead of the car. We took off the side, and yeah, we just kept doing our thing. We stuck to our GPS, we stuck to our notes, and yeah, we're bombing the desert as fast as we comfortably could. I want to say our average pace is probably like between 55 and 60 mile an hour. There's some stuff where you're right slowed down to like 20 to 40, and then I think we got as fast as 80 in some of the open sections. We're much faster in the desert than we were last year. A lot of that's Mike's driving experience, a lot of that's the improved shock tuning, a lot of that's the driving tips from Wayne, the pre-running, the notes, all the things we kind of put in leading up to it meant for a faster desert lap. So on the desert lap, you have the option to stop in at the remote pit if you needed fuel or obviously service. From your pit crew, we didn't, so we bombed by them, continued on the desert lap all the way back here to main pit. Our lap one went amazing. We felt great. We felt it was smooth. We felt we're on a better pace than last year. No mechanical issues. So we set out on lap 2. We ran a whole bunch more desert. A lot of it's the same as we just did. So we felt like you're picking up speed, obviously, because you're even more confident because you just ran it earlier at speed. So we're bombing through the desert again, doing great. We bombed through some stuff. Unfortunately, at this point, we kind of picked up an issue getting our transfer case to shift from high to low range. So we're kind of fiddling around with that in one section. We tried ripping up this hill, and we got stuck part way up. Tried to back out, had no reverse. Tried to put it in park. There was no park, and we lost third gear as well. Essentially 361 days after we last did this, lap 2, same story, same heartbreak. Yeah, loss of a transmission. That was the end of our day.
This whole event, the final thought on it, like this was year 2 for us. It was far more relaxed, far more stress-free. We had much more fun this year than we did last year. The entire time from preparing the car to getting down here, knowing what we had to do. We had a great time with our crew, our families came down again.
I'd just say final thanks would be to our families. Obviously, our parents both work for us at our small business. They help us out a lot and support us. Our wives, our 4 kids. I mean, for our 2 wives to haul down here with 4 young boys, that's no easy feat. So I want to thank them for coming out and just supporting our race efforts year long as we put in lots of long hours to prep our car and do the best we can.
I like coming down here to party, to chill with the crew, and I like supporting them. I like watching them race. Hopefully next year they finish, and hopefully I'll race this one day.
This event kicked ass. We had an absolute blast, and we'll be back in some form, and we'll spend the next year figuring out what that looks like. And yeah, we got 45 hours in the truck together to sort out what that looks like. But yeah, looking forward to getting home to our families, settled in, and thank you to everyone who tunes into this sort of content, supports our race efforts, and supports our small business. We're out here doing it with our families, and we absolutely love it.